Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, we're going to talk about a very special subject that a lot of us just have it on the back of our mind. We never get to it because we don't know where to start. We don't know where to go, what kind of type of policies we need, which is insurance or your business insurance that you really, each one of you who sells on Amazon or have an e-commerce business, that they need that specific insurance to protect themselves from unexpected things, especially if you're in the US, which we know that a lot of people sue everybody just for a cup of coffee. So I just want to make sure we really cover it. And today we have a very special guest that I'm very grateful that she accepted our invitation to come onto our show, which is Ashlin Hadden. She has she has her own agency, insurance agency, and she's the most knowledgeable person that I know in that field in insurance, especially for Amazon sellers and e-com as a whole. So, hi, Ashlin. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I promise we'll keep it fun. I know insurance is not a sexy topic, but we'll keep it light and fun today, I promise.
That's why I'm really happy to have you here, because you're really able to explain a very heavy subject like insurance in a very easy terms that for our audience to understand. And honestly, a lot of gurus, a lot of people who speaks on about insurance or about Amazon, they don't understand that aspect of the business very well, right. Honestly, because it's more about entrepreneurship. They want to get into finding a product, sourcing a product and everything, but they forgot the simple foundation of a business. And I'm one of those people who really didn't pay attention to that because I was just looking at the main goal and forgetting the really solid foundation. So I really believe you bring a lot of value, and I think it's very important if something happens.
Yeah, all of your gurus teach you how to make $1 million, but they don't tell you how to keep it. And if you screw up and one person sues you, you're done. I mean, you could lose your entire business over one product. So yeah, they teach you how to make it, but I'm going to teach you how to protect it and how to keep it so you can spend it and not spend it on attorneys.
That's exactly what it is. And I think that's a very important aspect. And you're right. What's the point of making the money if you're not going to keep it, or you're going to give it to a lawyer who's going to charge you $200, $300 an hour, right?
Yeah.
So protect yourself is the same thing as having a trademark when you can. But before we get into it, I know there's a few stories that happen on Amazon that really grabbed our attention, put a lot of fear on people, especially about the reusable straw that everyone's talking about. Someone just sourced this regular straw, is reusable, made out of metal, and someone just stumbled and they poked their eye and they have no eye anymore. So simple things like this that really makes a big difference. I want to first talk about tell us more about yourself. Tell us about your experience. I know you have over a decade of experience in insurance and financial space, and also how all started for you. Because I think
of course. So I kind of fell into insurance in general on a whim. One of my friends was like, "Hey, Liberty Mutual's in hiring. You want to go sell insurance?" And my first career was in banking. I was a branch manager for 11, 12 years. And I was like, I don't want to sell insurance. I don't want to be a used car salesman. I'm just not interested in it. But I was like, I'll take an interview. You know, what's the harm of taking an interview? And so in the interview, the guy that interviewed me said that this was a man's industry and that those men out there would outsell you every day. And I was kind of like, watch me. I'll take the job. So I took the job. I was rookie of the year, top rep in the state, third in the entire company, accepted my award on stage and sent him a picture of my middle finger and said, "Who can't sell insurance now?" So I kind of got into it with a chip on my shoulder and just to prove him wrong. So I worked as a captive agent, which means I just sold Liberty Mutual products. And one of my personal clients ran a Facebook group and said, "Hey, Amazon's changing rules. They want this like liability policy. Is it something you could help me with?" And I was like, "Chris, I know nothing about e-commerce. I know nothing about what you guys are doing. Carriers don't like you. It's not worth my time." Kind of like pushed him away. And I was like, "Go away. It really is not worth it." And he's like, no, Ashlyn, I really, really need your help. See what you can do. So I spent months and months and months trying to find a carrier that would insure online sellers. Finally got a carrier to say, all right, I'll give you a shot. Issued his policy, and he came back and he's like, hey, I have this Facebook group and there's 15,000 of us in here that are going to need this policy. Can I post your information? And I'm like, 15,000? This might be worth my time now. And it kind of grew from there. So I started, helping his people and realizing every person that I talked to was the same story. No one wants to help me. No one knows what I'm doing. No one likes me. No one wants to insure me. And I realized, like, you guys are the redheaded stepchildren. I can get a mom and pop shop insured all day, every day, but I was struggling to get somebody with an e-commerce insured. So it kind of just became my baby. And it was like, all right, there's so many people out here that need this and don't know where to go to get it. They don't know how to protect themselves. They don't know what kind of protection they need. And the community that you guys have is just unbelievable. Just, you all compete against each other, but yet you all still want to help each other grow and learn and embrace each other. Now, stay off each other's listings, but other than that, like, you guys try to really help each other. And I'd never have seen a community like that, and I just completely fell in love. So in the last 3.5, 4 years, I've just been engulfed in e-commerce. I'm eating, sleeping, breathing Amazon just like you guys. And it's really become my baby. So we spend majority of our time helping e-commerce sellers getting the protection that they need to sell products online. So it was kind of a whim.
That's a very simple detour from what you planned for yourself. And I think
Yes.
a little bit, I think your story was very important to start with, because I think every person who sells on Amazon, they have this entrepreneurship. And I think they're always hesitant of taking the new path or taking new opportunity because of the unknown. So for you to be able just to ask or know the right people to help you really can change your life, or can change the path that you have for your life. For example, when I started, I really knew nothing about laptops. I knew nothing about Amazon. I really thought Amazon was like Walmart, and I knew nothing about it. It's actually, I stumbled on it while I was searching how to strap a fridge on back of my pickup truck because I wanted to make extra cash. Then I found it, and that's changed my life for the past 4 or 5 years. I became really good at it. I really wanted to learn. I started loving what I like, and that's what you need. And I think every entrepreneur has to understand relationships are very important. And I think taking the action on what you know or who you know is very important.
And how many people told you couldn't do this or you couldn't make money at it?
Every single day, even until now, my mom, she tells me, are you okay?
Right. Tell me I can't do something and watch me prove you wrong.
That's exactly. When he told me that, oh my God, I used to live in a cubic. I mean, I used to be a mechanical engineering technologist, and I used to sit in these cubes with other people. And I'm telling you, every one of them, they used to basically, when I told them about Amazon, tell me, yeah, we'll see when it happens. Yeah, okay, you can do it. I will see you. It's
right.
Really about this motivation to start. So I'm very happy with where we are.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. Now we're going to talk about, we had fun. Now let's talk about the real things that people have in their mind. The first question is going to be, is it required for Amazon sellers to have an insurance? And is it a must, or they just can say, hey, whatever, let's see what happens?
Yeah. So per the terms of service, you've already signed, if you're a pro seller, you've already signed that you have the insurance. 99.99999% of us don't read the instructions, didn't read the terms of service, didn't realize we said, yeah, sure, I already have a general liability policy. So pro sellers, it is a requirement for you to have a liability policy. Now, with that said, we know how Amazon is, and Amazon is not policing it yet. So if you have it or you don't have it, they don't really know right now. But the ruling that just came out in California a couple months ago says that the marketplaces are going to start requiring that you have the certificate of insurance uploaded, and they're going to require that you provide proof that you maintain it the following year. So they're going to have you submit that certificate up front and then year after year after year after year. So it's coming down where they're going to start policing it, because they've been in some situations the last couple of months where the higher courts are saying, Amazon, you're responsible for damaged goods. You're responsible for these things. And they're going to say, I don't want to take responsibility for this. I'm pushing that back on the third party seller. So now they're going to say, Joe Smith, this is your private label product. You're responsible for it. Mary Smith, this is your RA product. You're responsible for it. So yes, it's required. No, they're not policing it, but they're going to start policing it. So we know how Amazon works. They're going to come out one day and be like, policing it. You don't have it, you're suspended. We just don't know when that's coming. So my suggestion is get it now, get it in place. Let us provide that to Amazon. So when they decide, poof, I need this tomorrow, you have it in place and they already have a copy of it and you don't get suspended.
I agree with you. I think Amazon now, all the eyes on him, on Amazon. And I think a lot of things are happening that's really all the, the laws and all the politicians are putting their eyes on Amazon because they see how much money they make and they have a lot of layaway. They have a lot of freedom to do a lot of things. So I know California is very, very strict. And she's one of the states that are really honing down on Amazon, even in taxes, sales tax and everything. But yes, it's required. And that's why I want to bring this subject, because I think it died off, especially when you see a fine print. A lot of people, they don't pay attention to it, but actually is a very important thing. And you need to have it. And I'm saying that I'm also guilty of that because I just followed the flow. I'm telling you, that's why I brought you in because I was like, you know what, it's very important. And it's just always in your back of your mind, you think, it's not going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. And you just brush it off. But no, it's very important. I think it's a very important step to do, especially if you start making really good money. I know even if you're not making money, you need it. Your boss is going to be lower, but it's a must, 100%.
We get all the time, the question is, well, I can't afford a $600 a year policy. And I hate to be so harsh, but if you can't afford a $600 a year policy, how are you going to afford a defense attorney at $450 an hour to defend you when you actually get listed in a lawsuit? So spend the $600 a year, get a policy. So if something were to happen, that carrier takes care of that for you. It's their job to defend you and get your name dropped out of that lawsuit. So I'll give you an example of what we had last year. So we had, and I'm sure you've heard this one, I tell it all the time. We had someone sell an RA, and it was a watermelon cutter. And it's just a plastic circle that when you slam it down, it cuts the watermelon. Well, it was imported from China. The handle broke and cut the tip of somebody's finger off. Well, my RA seller was absolutely not responsible for this product. They didn't manufacture it. They literally bought it and put it on Amazon. But in the lawsuit, they listed Amazon, the manufacturer, and our client. And my carrier had to defend her from this lawsuit, saying, hey, she is not responsible for this breaking. And it was $36,000 in legal fees just to get her name dropped from the lawsuit. So she paid, her policy was like $700 a year. She paid $700 a year, and the carrier did $36,000 in legal fees. If she didn't have this policy, she would have had to pay $36,000 on her own.
And that's all because of a $3 product.
Right. All because of probably 50-cent product.
I'm telling you, just because I was going to make this extra dollar.
Exactly. It's to me, it's a no-brainer. But people sit here and think like, since I sit behind a computer and I'm just an RA or OA or wholesale seller, that I can't be sued. You can be sued. We are in such a sue-happy world.
I agree. And I think this is a part of it. It lays on, I'm going to say the influencers that are out there. They're just thinking about, hey, it's very quick, easy to make money with this Amazon business. You don't need a big capital, you need $300, $500 or $2,000 or $3,000. But actually the facts are that you need a good budget. You need to be able to manage your cash flow and also have enough money to spend on those things like insurance.
Act like a real business.
Yeah, how to run real business is not just, hey, I'm taking as a hobby. If you want to do the real thing, that's how you should do it. And I think that's why we want to bring awareness for those little things that a lot of people are not speaking of, but they're a must. And you just hear it, hey, I need to do this, but just because I want to sell a course or I want to sell a material extra.
Right.
And it's very important. Very, very, very important. Now, let's talk about what type of insurance should the seller have. And, I hear a lot, and those terms, I don't know if they're all similar, and that's why I want to bring them. General insurance, business insurance, product liability insurance, and something called recall insurance, which is, I really would like you just to give us a little bit of what you should have and what the difference between them.
Okay, so basics that you need to comply with your terms of service is general liability and product liability. And what that's going to do is protect what you do or say as a business, that's general liability, and what your products do to harm someone or someone's personal property. So if I list something on Amazon and it's got a swoosh in the logo and Nike comes back and says, that's my swoosh, I'm suing you, that's covered under general liability. I sell this mouse and the mouse explodes and the battery explodes and it causes damage and I put my finger in it and now I put it in my eye and I go blind. Whatever the idea is, that's product liability. That's what your products do to harm someone. So basics, general liability, product liability, we put it in one policy. And if you're not doing private label, that's the like $600 to $800 a year-ish policy. That includes both of those. That gets you compliant with Amazon and your terms of service. Above and beyond that, you can have product BPP, business personal property. That's going to cover your stock. So if you've got $50,000 in stock in your basement and there's a fire or a theft, your homeowner's insurance will not cover that. So unless you can explain that you've got 50,000 toothbrushes because you like a new toothbrush every time you brush your teeth, your insurance company is going to know it's for a business and they're not going to cover it. So having that coverage for your stock, your items, your computer, your prep materials, anything that your business own is something else that you can get, but is not required for Amazon. What you're talking about with recall coverage, if you're a private label seller and you're putting products into the consumer's hands, you can buy a thing called product recall. And if there's an issue with your product, it helps you get those damaged goods out of the consumer's hands and helps refund their money, have it shipping, have it destroyed, whatever it needs to do, whatever you need to do to get those products out of the hands of the consumers so they don't end up having an issue and sue you over the issue. So that's a really good product to have if you're doing private label and putting those products into the consumer's hands.
Wow. This is actually really informative, and I think it's really important. And I like the fact I didn't know nothing about the recall and the PPP that you explained, but I think it's really important because I remember, I don't do retail arbitrage and arbitrage as I used to because I'm all private label. But when I started with retail arbitrage, I know I had maybe 500 to 1,000 product in my garage. That God forbid something happened buy a house,
right?
Living in the street. This is a big issue, honestly. Think about it. All of us, all retail arbitrage people, even pallet people who does it, they don't use a prep center. They have the products in their house. If something happens, the insurance is going to find out. They're not going to come and pay you for your house, and they know that you actually the cause of the fire or something. It's your products because you're using it as a business.
Even if we have a lot of clients who have stuff in storage units, if the storage unit were to, your product's gone. Unfortunately, we've had a couple of people who have products in the prep centers and the prep center goes out of business. And now they've got products in a prep center that disappear. If you don't have that insured on your policy, you could have $200,000 in products sitting at a prep center and you have no recourse. So having your products is having product liability is huge if you get sued, but having coverage for your actual products, if they walk away or they burn in a fire or your prep center goes out of business, that could be just as big as an impact as getting sued, depending on how much product that you have.
Yeah, because all that is money is spent and invested, and you don't know where is that coming from, especially if you want to scale. Because if you're doing this business, you're not doing it for $2,000, $3,000 a month only. You want to scale to the point where you really live very well and you start getting good money out of it. And for sure, you're going to have a stock of $80,000, $90,000 at least in a prep center if you really want to scale to the point where you want it to be. So thinking about it from now and protecting yourself.
And if you're ordering and shipping from overseas, we have a thing called cargo insurance. Sometimes you can get it from your company too, but if you're shipping more than 3 times a year, it's typically cheaper to get a cargo insurance policy for the year through us than it is to get individual insurance policies through your shipping company. So if you're shipping $80,000 via air or trail or rail or via sea, and something happens and it disappears, someone steals it, that kind of stuff, you could be out, again, hundreds of thousands of dollars in products and have no recourse. Because you're never going to find somebody over in China that says, oh yeah, we stole your product. It's not going to happen.
Nike and Apple are not able to protect themselves in China.
Exactly. Who do you think you are,
who
right?
do you think you are? Oh, I can have something written. Yeah, okay. It's not going to happen.
Exactly.
You know what? I'm not making fun of this because honestly, when I started, I promise you, I swear to you, I had my first contract for my first product, which is $5,000, not much, okay? I had a booklet, basically, of my contract with them. And the product failed anyways. So nothing happened. But I'm just telling you, like, really, you're scared and you think that's going to protect you, but actually it's not going to protect nothing. So you need something like that. Just off topic, I'm thinking about, because I know you have your agency, Ashlin Hadden is agency. Do you guys offer something to protect the accounts, the seller account? For example, if something happened, you get suspended, you want to get paid or something like that. Is that something you're working on?
Yes. So behind me, you can see the word suspension insurance on our list. But so I am the one who created the suspension insurance. Unfortunately, things were not working out to my expectations. So I stopped the contract. So as of now, no, because I had higher expectations and I want things to be perfect for my sellers, and it just wasn't working. So no, not right now, but we are working on something for the future.
You let us know about this because I think it's very important, especially with, and hopefully we can do it. Like, I know I'm just jumping, but I'm just so excited about it because I really think when you get a hijacker, once you get suspended for any stupid things, your stupid claim, I think your whole business just shut down. And I think a lot of people are thinking of how to diversify their business by getting from outside traffic or selling another platform because of it. But if you get this insurance, you're safe. I think you'll be able to do your business without distractions, because it's too much to ask for someone to learn other platforms. And just because of that, and I think if you have insurance, it should be really cool.
We're working on it again.
Yeah, I know, Ashley, you're doing that.
Sorry.
Now, as we know, we have different business models, as we said, and it could be different, as you said, like for retail arbitrage, online arbitrage people, wholesale, pallets, and private label. Now, is there something different between them? I know that general insurance and product liability insurance, it's a must for all of business models. For private label, you can go a little bit further. Is that correct?
So it doesn't matter what business model you're using. If you're RA, OA, wholesale, or private label, you still need the general liability and product liability. So there's not going to be any like quasi-different insurance that you are going to have for Amazon. We can add different things to your policy, like the product recall and things like that if you're a private label. But what you have to have isn't going to change no matter what model you're selling in. But what does change is the price. So RA, OA, and wholesale, you're not the manufacturer of the product, so your pricing is a lot cheaper. Once you go to a private label and you put your label on it, you become the manufacturer of that product, and that's going to increase your price because that's going to increase your risk. Now, instead of going to court saying, hey, I'm just an RA seller, I'm not responsible, we're going to go to court and say, okay, yeah, we're responsible, but we don't want to pay that much, so how do we negotiate this down? So your price is going to significantly change depending on RA, OA, and wholesale and private label. I don't want to like scare you into saying like it's crazy, crazy expensive, but it honestly depends on what you're selling, where you're sourcing from, and how much you're selling. If you're selling a baby product that goes in the mouth and it's imported from China, it's going to be expensive. If you're selling a pad of paper imported from China, it's not going to be so expensive. So it really does depend on what you're selling and where you're sourcing from. But we have private label sellers in the $800 to $1,000 a year range. And we have toys being imported from China for babies in the $20,000 a year range. So it just depends. The best thing to do is to get a hold of us. Let us say, okay, this is the product I'm selling, and give you a price range for you to look at. So don't ask me what the cost is without telling
me. No, I won't, because I know it's not the right question to ask, honestly, because depending on the business, depending how much income, depending on the category, what's the purpose of the product, and all this stuff. So it's very, I think, bad, or I think it's very bad when I see it in the Facebook groups, or I see anybody, hey, I'm getting this for $700. Okay, I need to find something for $700. No,
right.
They're two different products.
And we even get customers say, well, why is my policy $1,000 a year and this guy over here is only paying $500 a year? And I said, well, that guy over there is only paying $500 a year because he's selling $12,000 a year in product. You're selling $500,000 a year in product.
Exactly.
He's selling a pen and you're selling knives. I mean, you can't compare your policy with somebody else's policy unless you're selling the exact same thing from the exact same place at the exact same amount in sales a year.
Exactly.
So quit comparing yourself.
Exactly. Stop. Just focus on yourself. Do better, improve, and do better than other people. That's it, right?
And make sure your assets are protected.
Exactly. That's the most important, your assets. You're all working for your assets.
That's right.
I'm thinking, I would just want to talk about the categories. Like, for example, you said categories, like anything that's simple, it should be easy, but anything that you can put on the body or you swallow, or anything that you really can eat, or, it could have a really bad reaction, it's going to be more expensive.
On the body, in the body, for a pet or for a baby. Those are your four, like,
anything that's living, basically.
Anything worth selling on Amazon is going to cost you.
Exactly. Now, my question is, and this is, I could be wrong with it. Is it different from if your supplier are a Chinese supplier or an American supplier? Because yes. I have now a product that you take, and it's from the US, not from China. So what's the difference could be? And is it the right thing to do, just getting it from the US versus China?
Yeah. So if it's just being imported RA, OA, and wholesale, it doesn't really take into a huge consideration. Where it does,
label, I'm sorry, private
once you get private label, the underwriters do look at where it's being manufactured from. If it's a product that could be ingestible, if it comes from the US, it's going to be a heck of a lot easier to insure than if it's coming from China. If it's something with paint, they're going to inspect the crap out of it if it's coming from China, and they're going to want quality tests and things like that, where maybe not so much in the US. So price could change depending on where it's from, and the ease of getting the insurance could change if it's from a US manufacturer versus a Chinese manufacturer, Filipino manufacturer, German manufacturer, wherever it's coming from. The US standards are typically a little bit higher, so they might not ask for as much proof as they would if it was coming from outside the country.
I mean, this is really good to know. I think Europe and US has different standards, and they're all like higher standards than other countries, which is a normal thing. Even when you source a product from a supplier, it's going to tell you where you're shipping it from, what is it for, what audience, because it's different quality product.
But don't let that deter you from getting insurance. We still can get you the insurance, and if the ROI is better, then go for it. You might just have to provide a little bit of documentation on the safety standards of whatever product you're importing.
Actually, I was selfish with my question because it was for me, for my own product. So I was like, oh, screw that. I'm going to say exactly what I want.
Hey, it's your show. You do what you want.
No, I really want to help people. But this question was bugging me because I didn't know. I'm just being very honest with you. When I get the product from the US, I thought is that if I'm getting from the US, if anything happens to me, they're going to sue the manufacturer, not me, because this product is manufactured for me, not me, but even as a private label. But when the lawyer wants to sue someone, he's not going to sue only one person. He's going to sue Amazon. He's going to sue the manufacturer. He's going to sue me. He's going to sue even the dog that walks by the manufacturer. He will do that, right? So I was I was wrong about this, because I told people, oh, don't worry about it. If you're from the US, you'll be protected. But I didn't have Ashlin Hadden.
That's
here.
right.
Thank you so much. This is really a big clarification. Another question which just came from the group, I really want to touch on it, is can a non-US based company get insurance coverage? And what type of insurance should they be looking for?
Okay. So still, again, the insurance that they're going to want is the general liability and product liability. The U.S. Carriers are now really cracking down on needing a U.S. presence for insurance. So what that means is you're going to need some type of U.S. entity and a U.S. address. Now, you don't physically have to have a location in the U.S. to have a U.S. address. They will not ship abroad. So you have to have some type of U.S. address. So that could be, a VIA box or something. But you do have to have a U.S. entity. So we all know that it's hard to sue someone that's not here in the United States. So that's the big problem within carriers, is they need you to have a U.S. entity. And that could just be setting up an LLC in the U.S. That could be setting up a partnership. That could be setting up even a sole proprietor with an EIN number. But they do have to have that now. If you have gotten a policy prior to, you're kind of grandfathered in, but they really crack down on that now, and you do have to have that. We do partner with a law firm here in the U.S. that can help you get an entity set up, and then allow you to have that insurance. Once you have the U.S. insurance, then we can add the international stretch that would cover all of your other countries, but you do have to have that U.S. entity first for us to get the policy, and then we'd add that other stuff onto it later.
That's really good and very good. I mean, luckily we have the, Presence LLC, especially for Canadians, I think, because they're easy for them to get a U.S. account in the States just by applying from Canada. So that's why Canadians are really asked these questions. But for people from abroad, for them to be able to get the Amazon account, they have to have a U.S.-based LLC or entity, which is really important with the address. As you said, like me, I did mine with Wyoming. Wyoming.llc, something like that. I got the entity made, the LLC, plus I got the address, which is just to get an address for it.
Right.
Which is really, really, that's very good. I have another question. People always ask this question, and I didn't ask you that. Sorry, I didn't mention it before. Is that people says I have liability insurance, okay, and I have my own entity. The purpose of having the entity is to protect myself from anything stupid that could happen. So what happens if I don't have liability insurance and I get screwed with one of the, one of those people who like to sue? And what should I do? I just can bankrupt my LLC and I'm good to go. Is that true?
Correct. We get this question all the time. I have an LLC, so I don't need insurance. Can you pick up the phone and call your LLC and say, hey, I'm getting sued? No. Can your LLC come to court and say, hey, this customer didn't do anything? No. Yes, it's great that you have an entity. It's great that you have something to protect your personal assets. But that LLC or that corporation or whatever you've set up can't defend you in a lawsuit. So, yeah, you could bankrupt your company. Fine, I'll bankrupt my company. But you're still not out of that lawsuit. You still have that pending lawsuit. You still have to defend yourself from that lawsuit. You still have to do something with that lawsuit. So you're still going to have to hire an attorney to defend you to get out of that lawsuit. Even if there's nothing there to get, you still have to defend yourself. It's not like you can say, oh, sorry, my company's bankrupt, this lawsuit just goes away. It just doesn't happen. Yeah, there's nothing there for them to take anymore, but you're still going to have to pay $450 an hour to an attorney to get you out of that lawsuit. Right.
just to be able
So,
to do the process.
Long story short, you can't call your LLC and say, hey, come protect me, come defend me. You can just protect your future assets. So
It's true, 100%. And that's why I think people are really misunderstanding the whole thing. And I think this is really important. And I'm telling you, it's something that you should do. And that's one of the things that I really need to do myself as well. It just was so many things, so many noise. You don't know who's right, who's wrong. And I think just listening to you, I think it's very important. I think everyone who's watching this, they should reach out to you. They should come, ask question, at least just
Absolutely.
get a quote and have it in your mind. That's something that you need to do. And that's the most important. It's not about, hey, I need to do it right now. No, it's okay. But just know that that's something you need to do. If you're running a business, you need to have it. And even if you have an LLC, God forbid, imagine if you start making $800,000 a year or $1 million a year. What's going to happen? You're going to bankrupt the whole business because of a $20,000 case or law case or whatever it is, right? So now you're thinking small. But when you get big, it's a completely different picture. And that's really, really good. So you know what? I don't want to take more from your time. I think we did very well. I just have last questions about your business, about your agency. You have very good reputation in the Amazon community. Every Facebook group knows who's Ashlin because you're the only one who specializes in that specific field in insurance, and that's very important. I think your reputation is very high, and I think you do things the right way from all the people that I heard. And I have met you before, but you didn't know me. But yes, I always heard good things.
And look at you now.
Look at you. What am I? I'm just a guy with a whiteboard. I look like a teacher. What's wrong with you? No, I just moved from Kuwait. I came here to Canada, and I'm still not finished the background, but I will work on it. So let's talk about Ashlin. Ashlin, what's the process if someone like me wants to come and look for insurance? How I can go about it? Where can I reach you? What's the process exactly?
So we make it as painless as possible. I know insurance sucks. I know nobody wants to talk about it. No one wants to deal with it. So we have made the process very streamlined. Best place to go is www.ecom.insure. So ecom.insure. There's a button that says get a quote now. The applications are broken down. It's pretty simple. RA, OA, and wholesale, here's your application. If you do private label, here's your application. The RA, OA, wholesale is 15 questions. It'll take you 4 minutes. We do everything through email if you want. If you want to pick up the phone, you can call one of us. If you want to send me a message on Facebook, you can send me a message on Facebook. You can text me. So all of that information is out there if you have questions. But if you just want to get online and say, hey, I want a quick quote, don't bug me, don't call me, don't text me, just give me a quote. We absolutely will. Honestly, we're up to our nose right now in trying to help people. So we don't have time to bug you. It's not like you're going to get on one of those crazy lists and we're going to reach out to you and bug you 900 times. I don't have time for it. If you want the policy, great. We'll be glad to help you. And if you don't, that's fine too, as long as you know what your risks are. So ecom.insure, get a quote, fill out the application. If you have questions, reach out to me on Facebook, Ashlin D Hadden, Hadden on Facebook, or you can find us at Ashlin Protects My Assets on Facebook, or on Instagram, Ashlin Protects My Assets. I'm around. So if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me. If you're outsourcing and you're like, hey, Ashlin, I'm thinking about getting into this private label product. What do you think? And shoot me a picture of it. I'll be glad to say, yeah, this is great. Go for it. Or make sure you got big pocketbooks. So I'm very honest to a fault. So I'll tell you if it's going to be a good idea or not. So I'm very reachable. My team's reachable. They know their shit too. So feel free to ask anything, anytime.
I can testify for that because it was very easy for me to reach out to you. It's actually my wife. She's the one who does those things and takes care of it. And to be able to reach out to you was really easy. And you're very, very nice person, very easygoing, which is, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I believe everyone who's going to deal with you, they're going to have a very good experience. And that's something, I'm not saying it lightly just because, hey, we have an Ashlin here with us or something. No, I'm always straightforward. I wouldn't never put something on that show or in this YouTube channel if I don't believe in it, if I don't think it's the right thing to do, because my philosophy or whatever I put the whole channel is under is transparency, honesty, and making sure that we do everything with full integrity, because I feel it's missing, and that's very important to run your business.
And just so your viewers know, he is not getting any type of affiliate discount or kickback or anything like that. It's against our rules to do that. So this is honest him. He's not getting any money for this.
I will never do it just because of affiliates. I'll never even thought of it. Even yesterday I had from Inventory Lab, I just promote their product without even any affiliates. And they asked me, it's like, hey, no, you should do it because we have one. But it's not that. I really want to make sure put out the good information that really people can benefit. And the last and not least, just tell us if you have any other products that you sell. Is there any news coming up to Ashlin Hadden Agency? Is there anything in the works? Is there anything in expansion?
I mean, we sell everything to protect your business. We also do auto, home, and life insurance. If you own a business and what happens to you if you die, how's that business going to run? We sell the life insurance that is completely tax write-off for your business. You got a partner. One of the two partners dies. How is that other person going to run your business? We do that kind of stuff too. So auto, home, life insurance, business insurance, everything that you need as an e-commerce seller to sleep well at night, except suspension insurance. We do it all.
Wow, this is really awesome. And if they combine multiple ones, I think they will get a discount. Is that how it works? If they
if you bundle, you get discounts. And then we also have an agency fee. If you mention this podcast, we'll give you 50% off of your agency fee up front.
I appreciate it. This wasn't planned, guys. She just said it right this. I didn't even know about it. So I'll be the first one to reach out to get my 50% off.
There you go.
Ashlin, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Really, really legitimate. I really thank you so much for everything you have done. And I hope we can see you in the future. Hopefully, if anything changes. And thanks for accepting our invitation. I will see you in the next one.
All right. Thanks. Bye.